Alright, hello everyone, Suraj Tupali from Toops Coffee, and this is an interesting video. This weekend we hosted a very interesting coffee brunch, and I've collaborated with Chef Pragati to do this because I don't have any professional food experience. Coffee, sure, but not food. It happened very randomly, honestly. A friend of mine randomly said, hey, there's another friend of mine that's interested in hosting something that's related to coffee. She does this long table thing with curated menus and a small table of 10 and does this on the weekends, and maybe you should check this out. So I reached out to her and I thought, hey, this is the perfect opportunity to collaborate. So we got to talking and we came up with an interesting menu that could pair coffee with food. This is something that I've never done before, and I came up with 4 or 5 coffees that I felt would showcase our strengths as we move towards better and better coffees. And Pragati also thought of a few brunch items that she would want to showcase that would pair well.
All right, let's run through the menu and you'll understand why it was interesting and unique to both of us. So the first off, we started with 2 pour-overs. The first coffee was a culture-washed naturals from Krishnagiri Estate, a nice clean coffee. And the second coffee was kept a surprise. It's a slightly darker roast, and this was intentional because it was a decaf. A lot of people felt that it was stronger than the first coffee, but it had no caffeine. So that was a good start to the menu, very interesting. Right after, we went into bread butter jam. Bread butter jam was an interesting take on a classic brunch dish. Looks simple, but is complicated. Rosemary fugasse, sweet and savory cultured butter, mulberry balsamic preserve. This is what it was. Then came the clarified latte. It was a new experiment to us at Toops Coffee. We took a honey cinnamon latte and used citric acid and a saline solution and honey to balance out the sourness. And once the milk split, we filtered through, so the milk solid stayed behind and only the liquid came through. So it tasted like coffee but had the texture of a latte. Then, here's something interesting. Fried chicken, biscuits and gravy. Jalapeno manchego biscuits, fried chicken or oyster mushrooms for the vegetarians with charred pineapple hot sauce. This was intentionally designed to not be too heavy because we didn't want the menu to lean into that territory where you're feeling really lethargic. So we kept it light and we kept it very interesting. Right after this, we did 2 things at once. The classic mazagran, which is orange juice, tonic water and cold brew, and paired it with a citrus melon fruit salad. This had ricotta, summer melon, mixed citrus fruits, and balsamic caviar. Once you got done with that, we jumped into the milk cold brew, which is coffee steeped in milk instead of water, so you don't have to add milk to the coffee concentrate. It steeps and extracts right into the milk. And then, the mainstay of this entire menu, potato rosti, poached egg, green apple and arugula salad, truffle potato espuma, mustard cheddar sauce, and espresso peppered glazed bacon. This was an option, but it came out really well on the 3rd day. And then, finally, this was the highlight of the menu, the brown butter affogato. Pragati and I went back and forth trying to develop this particular dessert, and it came out really well. I used a Robusta, 100% red honey processed Robusta from Salavara Estate to create the espresso. And Pragati used brown butter ice cream, bourbon caramel, spiced candied pecans, and finally, she made a tuile out of coffee chocolate actually. It was very nice and came together really well, and everybody really enjoyed this entire menu.
Alright, so Pragati, how's it going? How did the event go over the weekend?
And I had a lot of fun. I had a lot of great coffee.
Yeah.
And I really enjoyed feeding people our food.
Yeah.
How did you enjoy the weekend?
It was hectic actually. I mean, the Friday was like all over the place for me. Mentally, I had to figure out so
all
many
of us.
things. Yeah.
Friday was chaos.
Yeah.
But we got into our groove by
Yeah.
Saturday.
Yeah.
And Sunday was chill.
Yeah. Actually, today I felt like everything moved so quickly. I'm looking at the time and I'm like, oh, it's still only, the 7th course. It's not done yet. Yeah. Yeah, it was different from what I usually do. I'm usually behind the counter and I'm always looking at things from the perspective of will this scale into like a permanent thing on the menu? Can this be replicated 100,000 times? Not about an experience or presentation. So this was very different for me. So the experience was interesting, and collaborating with you was also very new, interesting kind of a
I'm so
menu.
glad this happened because I've been wanting to do a coffee menu at the long table forever. I've been really getting into coffee over the last 2 years, and this whole fit with Toops just made sense to me because
I feel like our brands have somewhat similar origin stories in terms of how we started, how we grew organically and stuff like that. And I loved the idea of collaborating with a brand like that.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad that we did because I think we did some really interesting things with this menu.
I think it was very interesting that it came together like that. The first time that I walked in and sat at the table, I didn't know what to expect. I just expected it to go by pretty quickly, but it was very interactive in a strange way, you know. Like although you guys have your own things going on, I also felt like the way the food came together and the table itself came together while I was sitting at the table, it was a very interesting experience. I didn't come in for that. So that was the day that I felt that, hey, that little nugget of whatever I took away from the table that day, I felt like that's what Toops also started with, about bringing people together and how people are interacting with each other while food was flowing and there was some sort of a conversation around it. Toops also was always about great coffee and conversations. It was about bringing people together like that. So in some ways, it made sense to me. So the fact that it happened and it all went by pretty smoothly was, I'm very happy about that.
Me too.
Yeah.
I mean, we should do this again.
Yeah, we should. We really should. Very interesting coffees soon, and I think we can do a much more nuanced menu, something that has more things going on, and we can surprise people, you know, to a different level.
Yes. Yeah. Very excited. Yeah.
All right. So looking forward to the next time.
In a few months.
Yeah. All right.
Yes. Wonderful.
Cool. Thank you.
Pretty exciting things coming up, which is sort of like an international thing that I'm doing, trying to learn. I'll leave it for the next video. All right, subscribe, like it, and share it so other people can see what we're doing. See you in the next one.